Well, good evening. It's, let me see, what is it? Oh, 10 minutes, 12 minutes to 8 on a Tuesday evening. That was a couple things I wanted to talk about. One was, I don't know, you heard me talk about Mark too. I, let's see, IDIMI, he did the beautiful mixing of the for the first stackies, and then stackies died off. Who cares? Uh, for the honor of being the best video of the month. It was a shame to see him go, but I wasn't going to do him, and because I don't know anything about editing, and he did great editing, but he has what do I want to say? A little consistency, lack of consistency, and and he tries your patience because although he's good at what he does, he doesn't do it very often, and he certainly never does it on time. So anyway, so we had a little disagreement. He was selling some. He's the reason a number of you know that I even ordered any triviums and slave queens, and that I'm sitting on most of them. He sold a few on eBay because he talked me into it, and he talked me into it because I was fascinated with him. Uh, I, you know, uh, I found him attractive to say the least. But be that what it may, uh, I just didn't have the patience. Couldn't get a hold of him. Maybe 5, 6 weeks apart, and that then you can't run a business together like that. I don't care if he's selling shit on eBay or what he's doing. So I asked him to return what he had and send me the money he owed me, and he could keep all the comics and the uncut sheets and all that. And so today I got a thing in the mail, and I thank him for it. It only took him 6 weeks, and I got three I don't know what you call them notes of promissory notes or whatever uh, that that uh, that I sent to him at various times, and it's nice of him to send them back. But he also sent back the this stupid thing. I got. I'll show you in a second. Yeah, he had. He still had three things that he hadn't sold on eBay, and it didn't bother me because even though I am the major bitch, all these things don't even want to come out of the containers. Just cut them out, whatever I care. Even though I'm the major bitch on Chris Duane and even Mulligan Mint. I mean, they're putting out so much crap now, and now they're going to put out one. They're going to put out one every week, and you just have to have it. I mean, how can we survive without it? It's like you don't want to miss one of them butterfly series with no silver in them at $29.95. The mints are going crazy, and everybody knows it, so I won't waste anybody's time on that. But this is what he returned. They were in crappy shape when they left here, so I can't complain about that. So I got these back. I got the crazy chicken. Let me get my pal. I got my crazy chicken back, uh, and I got a couple of slave queens back. So I was happy to get them back. So that ends Mark II, chapter or any kind of communication together. And I wanted to show these again. Hopefully somebody could find them on eBay, and and I've been trying to get a hold of. Well, there are none of these on eBay, but I've been trying to find out roughly what they're worth because I see a bunch of other art stuff, but I don't see any Wittenauer ones, uh, and they're really remarkable. And they, as I said, they were done in I don't know 1972 or whatever, but they're the first 6 presidents, and they're very nice, very nice indeed. Now, but the thing I wanted to talk about tonight was uh, oops, was that quote, that Emerson quote um, from Self-Reliance, where he says, uh, "A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds." because if you're adhere to one point of view, especially in the silver market, that you might find yourself going down the wrong trail for too long. And I think I'm changing my mind on this general collapse principle, because I saw a couple of videos today, and there are a lot of newbies out there that are thinking, uh, uh, along the right lines, but they're all of the opinion, like I used to be, of we're going to take a dime down, get a loaf of bread. Well, that would, if there was a general collapse of the dollar, and shops right in these places aren't going to be taking anything but cash. But by the time this happens, then the price of silver should be high enough that you could get the equivalent of a loaf of bread. But you in all probability will have to sell that dime to somebody, get the cash, and go down to ShopRite or Acme or whoever you shop with and get your loaf of bread. Um, the Regardless of how many trillions of dollars are going to come home to roost, that the world economy is still has a big interest in America making it, because we are still the greatest consumers in the world, and and and, and have a good lead on China, which is just moved into number two place, and we're talking that with a third or less than a third of the population of China, we're doing pretty good. But we always compare the strength to the dollar is only because everybody else is so weak. Brazil now, their latest quarter, they did less than 1% growth in the gross domestic product. China is dropping their estimates on their gross domestic product, and everybody's sweating bricks, because as China goes now, probably so goes the world. So we could be forced into a depression, and and that would force the price of silver maybe even further down because of demand. But I don't think it can go too far, because we're never going to be without computers, cell phones, and everything else. If we are, then we're in such a mess that dollars, silver, gold, none of that shit's going to matter. It's what you can grow and what you can protect. Now, uh, as the dollar weakens, which I think it will, then the price of silver will go up in relationship to the weakness of the dollar. But the dollar's strong because the real's getting weak. Uh, the Japanese yen, they just doubled the amount of yen available, and the euro is weak against the dollar. But that doesn't mean the dollar's strong. It just means it's better than a lot of other things. So the dollar will maintain some hegemony there for a while. Now, what what I wanted to get to about this prediction of the great collapse is that it won't be a great collapse. It'll be a slide into second world status, because we are not doing a thing to protect our middle class, and they're the consumers. And if they can't consume, then we're not making anything, and we're in deep trouble. You cannot continually rely on Wall Street and paper shufflers to keep the gross domestic product up, and all the gross domestic product that rises that we've had have all gone to the fat cats, the big boys, and the little guy is getting screwed. Minimum wage isn't even minimum, because you can't subsist on it. Now I know there are people in the world that make $2 a day. Fine, but their buying power on that $2 probably feeds them and provides shelter for them. Now the dollar will slide, but I don't think it'll do a tremendous on-spot collapse. Uh, the stock market might do a little turnaround once Bernanke says that he's done throwing 80 billion dollars a month into the marketplace. But I this is in response to several things. Now this isn't in response to I hate to pick on them, but uh, silverfish is still on his confessional and will probably continue to be for a while longer. Or what the necessity is, I don't know. But we don't. We're Silver Channel. As I said before, we don't have to know everybody, every word on everybody. But he's got a great voice. He should have been a preacher. He could have made millions. Now, what I want to do though is I want to put out what do I want to say, like a job application, sort of. And this is what my problem is. Now, I want to. I'm staying in this house mainly because for the last 10 years, because my mother, she's 93, and I haven't gotten to go anywhere, and I'm to the point where physically I can't do what I would like to do if if and when she does die. Well, when. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for some young person, 18 to 26. Okay, now. Uh, when I was, by the time I was 19, I'd been to 49 states. By 21, I'd been to 50. By 23, I'd been around the world. And I did it on my own. And I did it by my thumb. I did it by getting jobs where I ended up. But I did it. And it was an adventure of a lifetime. Well, I can't do that kind of adventure of a lifetime anymore. I'm physically unable. I'm not supposed to carry anything over 5 pounds because of my back. So what I need is if my mother, if she dies before me, that should be the way I put it, then I'm going to get out of this place. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to tour some islands in the Caribbean, but I don't want to travel by myself anymore. And the person that goes along, all they have to do is be compatible with some gay guy. They don't have to be gay, or they don't have to do, there's no physical thing involved. What I need is I feel much more confident to travel with somebody. And what I want to do is I want to rent a place in the Caribbean on a couple islands for maybe a week or two in each place to get a feel for it. And if I like it, then stay longer till eventually I find a place where I want to buy something and settle down. But the other option is that I still would love to look for fossils and things. In that case, I don't need anybody with merely a passport, and that's a prerequisite of this other thing. But passports, you can put them on the fast track and get them in three weeks now. So the passport thing is an absolute necessity once we're ready to go, but it's not a necessity to start. But the other thing is, I'd love to go out west and look for fossils, petrified wood, and go in the south and look for shark's teeth, and then go out west again and look for arrowheads and things like that, as long as I'm able to walk around, even if it's only for a couple hours. But then I would need somebody that's at least 25, because you have to be 25 to drive a rental car. And what I would do is fly, rather than go through all the boring states I've been through many times, I just fly out to places, rent a car, find some kid that has a four-wheel drive and can drive out in the desert or up in the woods or wherever, and 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 take us to the locations we'd like to look for stuff. So that's the job interview. If it's in this country, you'd have to be 25. If it's overseas, and overseas I mean strictly the Caribbean, or maybe the Gulf, depends, then well, not no, I guess not the Gulf unless we're going to Cuba, but we could go to the Caribbean, to Belize, or the Virgin Islands, or someplace I'd want to settle where they speak English. Then 18 is all you'd have to be. So if anybody's interested, by all means, contact me, and we'll get a dialogue going, and that'll take care of that. But uh, back to the silver message. Silver seems to be just stuck in that little bitty range, and I sent a number of you some silver prognosticators that really knew what they're talking about, and talking about above ground silver and about production. And production will eventually go down to a point where industry demand will make silver go up and go up quite nicely. But that might be years off, and if we end up in a world recession, you can add a couple more years to